It was a perfect summer day, the kind that makes you forget about deadlines and grown-up worries. The sun hung high over Oakwood, a quiet suburb of Columbus, Ohio, where the only thing louder than the cicadas was the cheerful jingle of the Sweet Treats on Wheels ice cream truck. It was 2 p.m. on Saturday, July 12, 2025, and Maple Street was alive with the sound of children's laughter and the rhythmic scuff of sneakers against warm pavement. I parked my truck beneath the shade of a sprawling oak, its branches arching protectively over the curb. The side of my truck, painted with a swirl of cartoon cones and sundaes, gleamed in the sunlight. A sticker reading, "Licensed by City of Columbus," was displayed proudly by the serving window, right next to the menu of summer favorites. The air was thick with the sweet scent of vanilla and chocolate, drifting out every time I slid open the window. Kids lined up, clutching crumpled dollar bills, eyes wide with anticipation. Their parents chatted in clusters under the trees, keeping a lazy eye on the scene while swapping stories and sipping iced tea. I, Jack Thompson, 55, former teacher, now owner and operator of Sweet Treats on Wheels, stood behind the counter in my navy polo, the truck's logo stitched over my heart. My radio crackled quietly at my hip, and my cash box sat ready beside the register. After 20 years serving this community, I knew most of these faces by name. This was the best part of the job, seeing generations grow up, sharing a little joy, one scoop at a time. A security camera, perched on the corner of the Johnson's house across the street, recorded everything as usual. A "No Loitering" sign hung on the lamppost, mostly ignored except by the occasional overzealous neighbor. Today, though, the peace was about to be shattered. The first sign of trouble was the sharp click of heels on the sidewalk, out of place among the slap of sandals and the squeak of sneakers. I glanced up just as Karen Mitchell strode into view. She was hard to miss. A designer sundress, oversized sunglasses perched on her head, and a leather purse clutched tightly under her arm. Her posture was stiff, chin raised, as if she were inspecting the street for violations only she could see. She didn't slow down as she approached the truck. Her voice, sharp and clear, cut through the laughter like a cold wind. "You're attracting strangers. This truck is a danger." The words hung in the air, silencing the children mid-giggle. Parents turned, conversations faltering. I blinked, momentarily stunned. In all my years, I dealt with the occasional complaint, too much noise, a forgotten napkin on the ground, but this was new. "Excuse me?" I managed, keeping my tone even. The last thing I wanted was to escalate things in front of the kids. Karen planted herself in front of the truck, blocking the line. "You heard me," she said, her lips pursed in disapproval. "This jingle, this truck, it's bringing strangers into our neighborhood. You're endangering our children." I took a breath, steadying myself. "Ma'am, I'm licensed by the city," I said, gesturing to the sticker by the window. "This truck's been a part of Oakwood for years. We're just here to bring a little happiness." She scoffed, glancing pointedly at the "No Loitering" sign. "Happiness? I see kids running wild, people I've never seen before wandering our streets. You're creating a public safety issue. I demand you leave immediately." A hush fell over the crowd. The children, still holding their money, looked from me to Karen, uncertain. One little girl, her face sticky with melted chocolate, clung to her mother's hand. The scent of fresh waffle cones hung in the air, suddenly heavy. I forced a smile, projecting the calm I had learned in years of teaching. "With all due respect, this is a licensed business. I follow all city regulations. If anyone feels unsafe, I'm happy to address their concerns, but—" Karen cut me off, her voice rising. "You're not listening. I'm speaking for the safety of this community. You're attracting people who don't belong here." Behind her, a few parents exchanged glances. Mr. Billings, who'd lived on Maple Street since before I started the truck, shook his head and muttered something under his breath. The security camera's red light blinked steadily, recording every second. I glanced at the children, their faces a mix of confusion and disappointment. My heart ached for them. This truck was supposed to be a symbol of summer, not a source of conflict. "Look," I said, keeping my voice gentle. "I'm just here to serve ice cream. If you have a real concern, I'm happy to talk about it. But I'm not breaking any rules." Karen's heels tapped impatiently as she shifted her weight. "We'll see about that," she said, pulling her phone from her purse and snapping a photo of the truck's license sticker. "If you won't leave, I'll make sure the city hears about this." I watched as she typed furiously, her sunglasses slipping down her nose. The children began to whisper, the spell of summer broken. Still, I refused to let her spoil the day for everyone. A ripple of laughter moved through the crowd, the tension easing just a bit. The parents smiled, some shaking their heads at Karen's theatrics, others giving me a thumbs up. The children, reassured, edged closer to the window, eager for their turn. But Karen wasn't finished. She hovered by the truck, phone in hand, ready to escalate. I could feel her eyes on me, searching for another reason to assert control. I focused on the task at hand, serving the next cone, keeping the line moving, and doing my best to preserve the joy of a perfect summer day. As the vanilla and chocolate scents mingled in the air, I reminded myself why I started this business in the first place: to bring people together, not drive them apart. And as Karen's heels clicked away, echoing her indignation, I knew this was only the beginning of a story Maple Street would never forget. Karen's voice grew shriller, but her next accusation left me speechless. She jabbed her phone toward my face, recording as if she'd just uncovered a crime scene. "This jingle is a public nuisance," she declared, her words slicing through the soft loop of "Pop Goes the Weasel" drifting from my speakers. "You're drawing in people who don't belong here. Undesirables. You're endangering minors." A hush fell, broken only by the distant hum of lawnmowers and the sticky splat of a child's ice cream hitting the pavement. I kept my hand steady on the counter, forcing a calm I didn't quite feel. "Ma'am, the city of Columbus has noise ordinances," I said, nodding toward the sticker by the window. "Sweet Treats on Wheels has followed them for 20 years. I turn the music off at dusk, and I never park past curfew. Ask anyone here." Bill, a retiree in a faded baseball cap, stepped forward, arms folded across his chest. "This truck's been here forever, Karen. Relax." The kids, emboldened by Bill's support, edged closer, their dollar bills crumpling in their fists. Lisa, a young mother with her son clinging to her knee, nodded. "We look forward to this every weekend. My son's been counting down since Tuesday." Karen ignored them, her attention fixed on her phone. She began filming me, the truck, the line of children, her thumb tapping furiously as she narrated. "This is what's happening in our neighborhood, folks. Outsiders, chaos, and a man who won't listen to reason." I tried to keep my voice level. "Ma'am, I'm here to serve families. I know almost every face in this line. If you have a real concern, I'm happy to talk it through, but please let's not scare the kids." She scoffed, waving her phone in my direction. "Don't patronize me. You're inviting crime with this circus. Turn off that jingle and leave, or I'm calling the police for endangering children." The truck's melody continued, a gentle counterpoint to the rising tension. A little girl licked a drip of chocolate from her wrist, eyes wide as she watched Karen's phone beep with each new video clip. I could see the security camera across the street, its red light blinking, capturing every second. Bill shook his head. "Karen, you're turning this into a spectacle. It's ice cream, not a rave." Karen's sunglasses slipped down her nose as she spun to face him. "You don't care about safety? You want strangers wandering our streets? Lisa squeezed her son's hand. The only thing I'm worried about is my kid missing out on his favorite treat. Karen's lips tightened. She pointed her phone at me again, her voice rising. You're turning our neighborhood into a circus. I took a breath, glancing at the line of hopeful faces. Ma'am, I'm licensed and follow all city rules. Let's keep this friendly for the kids. She filmed me in silence for a moment, her finger poised over the screen. The tension was thick enough to taste like the syrupy sweetness of a root beer float gone flat. Then, as if on cue, the truck's jingle looped again, softer this time. The children shifted, uncertain. Karen's phone beeped as she started a new recording. This is evidence, she muttered, for when the police arrive. Bill stepped closer, his voice low and steady. Karen, you're blowing this way out of proportion. She ignored him, eyes fixed on her phone. You'll all thank me when this menace is gone. Lisa rolled her eyes, whispering something to her son, who giggled and pointed at the menu. The community was rallying, quietly, around the truck and the tradition it represented. But Karen wasn't finished. She circled the truck, filming the "Licensed by City of Columbus" sticker, the cash box, even my navy polo. You think a sticker makes you safe? She demanded. You think a smile makes you trustworthy? I met her gaze, refusing to let frustration show. I think 20 years of serving this neighborhood speaks for itself. The ice cream continued to drip. The jingle played on, and Karen's phone beeped steadily, her filming just the start. Her next move would turn Maple Street into a stage, and the whole neighborhood was about to become her audience. Hashtag part 3, the failed rally. Karen thought she'd rally the neighbors, but their response flipped her script. She pivoted from the truck, raising her phone high like a megaphone, her voice ringing out across Maple Street. Parents, you need to protect your kids. This truck is drawing dangerous strangers into our neighborhood. Her sundress swished as she paced the sidewalk, sunglasses slipping down her nose. She gestured wildly, phone camera pointed at the crowd, as if she were documenting a scandal for the evening news. But instead of outrage, most neighbors exchanged amused glances or simply ignored her. Bill, arms crossed and baseball cap pulled low, called out, The only stranger causing trouble is you, Karen. A ripple of laughter moved through the parents. Lisa, still holding her son's sticky hand, added, My kids love Jack's truck. It's a summer tradition, not a crime scene. A few children giggled, sensing the tension had turned silly. 8-year-old Emily clutched her melting cone, eyes darting between Karen and her mom, confusion written across her face. Karen's frustration mounted. She swept toward the curb, purse thumping against her hip, and jabbed her finger at the "No Loitering" sign. You're all enabling crime. You're complicit in this chaos, she shouted, voice cracking with indignation. Tom, a neighbor and accountant in his 50s, emerged from his porch, hands in his pockets. Karen, the truck's permits are public record. Jack's got every right to be here. Maybe you should check the facts before you start a panic. Seeing her momentum falter, I decided to try a different tack. Karen, would you like a free ice cream? On the house, I offered, hoping to cool the situation literally and figuratively. She slapped the cone from my hand, sending a splatter of vanilla and rainbow sprinkles across the sun-baked asphalt. The crowd gasped. Emily's eyes widened, and a hush fell over the group as the cone slowly melted at Karen's feet. I kept my voice calm. If you have a complaint, Karen, you're welcome to file it with the neighborhood association. I'm just here to serve the community. Karen's face flushed. You're all blind. If you won't listen, I'll start a petition to ban this truck. You'll see. She waved her phone, sunglasses askew, and stomped away from the truck, muttering about negligence and irresponsible parents. Bill shook his head, grinning. "Karen, you're the chaos. Let the kids have their ice cream." A gentle breeze carried the truck's jingle down the street, mingling with the laughter of parents and the delighted squeals of children. The splattered cone glistened on the pavement, a small casualty in a battle that Karen was clearly losing. Emily tugged at her mother's sleeve, whispering, "Why is that lady so mad about ice cream?" Lisa knelt beside her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Sometimes people just need something to be upset about, honey. But we know Jack's truck is safe." Karen, undeterred, paced the sidewalk, phone still recording as she ranted about community standards and the threat of outsiders. But her words fell flat. The neighbors' loyalty was clear. Their laughter and gentle teasing drowned out her complaints. I glanced at the clock on my dashboard, 2:20 p.m. The sun was still high, and the scent of chocolate and vanilla hung in the air. The community stood strong, united by something as simple as an ice cream truck and the memories it brought. Karen's rally had flopped, but as she glared at the crowd, I could tell she wasn't finished. Her final stunt was still to come, and the neighborhood was about to find out just how far she'd go to make herself heard. Hashtag part 4, the disruptive stunt. When Karen grabbed the megaphone, the neighborhood became her battleground. She lunged toward the truck's open window, snatching the blue plastic megaphone I kept on the counter for announcing special deals. Her grip was tight, knuckles white, as she raised it to her lips. The shrill screech of feedback echoed down Maple Street, freezing everyone in place. Even the cicadas seemed to pause. "Attention, parents!" Karen's voice boomed, warped and metallic through the megaphone. "This truck is luring predators into our neighborhood with its jingle. Your children are at risk." Her words ricocheted off the houses, drawing more neighbors out onto their porches. Emily, clutching her fresh cone, jumped in fright and dropped it onto the pavement, her eyes brimming with tears. Karen's purse tumbled from her shoulder, forgotten in the grass as she waved the megaphone wildly. She paced in front of the truck, her sundress swirling, sunglasses askew, and phone still recording in her other hand. The absurdity of the scene was almost comical, if not for the distress on the children's faces. My heart pounded as I stepped out of the truck, hands raised in a calming gesture. "Karen, please return the megaphone," I called, keeping my voice steady. "You're scaring the kids and violating Columbus noise ordinances. I have to ask you to stop." I reached for my radio and called. "Mike, I need you at the truck. Now!" Within moments, Mike, my 25-year-old assistant in a matching Sweet Treats polo, ran up from the next block, eyes wide at the chaos. He positioned himself between Karen and the truck, arms folded, a silent wall of support. Bill, ever the documentarian, now filmed the spectacle on his phone. "She's gone too far," he narrated, panning from Karen's megaphone to the melting ice cream on the sidewalk. Lisa knelt beside Emily, soothing her and retrieving the fallen cone. Tom, the accountant, pulled out his phone and dialed the neighborhood association president, Sarah, relaying a blow-by-blow of the escalating scene. Karen, undeterred, turned the megaphone on me. "This man is endangering your children. I'm defending our community." She jabbed a finger at the "Licensed by City of Columbus" sticker, zooming in with her phone. "You think a sticker makes you safe? This is a menace." I kept my distance, voice calm but firm. "Ma'am, you're frightening the children. Please put the megaphone down." She backed away, still filming, and shouted, "Don't touch me. If you come any closer, I'll call the police for assault." Her voice cracked with desperation, but her words only drew more neighbors, some filming, some shaking their heads in disbelief. Mike stepped forward, hands open in peace. "Ms. Mitchell, you need to give that back. You're making a scene." Karen ignored him, her attention fixed on the crowd. "You're all sheep. He's brainwashing you with sugar and music." Bill's camera caught every moment. "This is going viral," he whispered to Tom, who nodded, still on the phone with Sarah. The megaphone's screech echoed as Karen waved it overhead, her purse still lying in the grass, ice cream melting at her feet. The truck's jingle, now silenced, hung in the air like a question mark. I pulled out my phone and dialed the police, voice steady as I explained. "Public disturbance, possible violation of noise ordinance, and theft of property." I gave my name, the address, and hung up, watching Karen pace in the grass. Lisa, comforting Emily, called out, "Jack, we're with you. Don't let her ruin this for everyone." Tom, finishing his call, added, "Sarah's on her way. The association's got your back." As the minutes ticked by, the tension mounted. Karen, still clinging to the megaphone, alternated between shouting warnings and filming the crowd, her sunglasses slipping further down her nose. The neighbors, united in their exasperation, stood firm, some comforting their kids, others documenting the chaos. The street, once filled with laughter and the scent of vanilla, was now a stage for Karen's one-woman show. But as the distant wail of sirens approached, it was clear her performance was nearly over. Karen's megaphone stunt was chaos, but justice was rolling in. ## Part 5, the climax. As police lights flashed at the end of Maple Street, Karen's tirade reached its crescendo and met its match. Officer Smith and Officer Lee stepped out of their cruiser, the blue and red strobes reflecting off the polished chrome of the Sweet Treats on Wheels truck. The crowd parted, parents pulling their children closer, as the officers approached with calm authority. Karen, still clutching the megaphone in her phone, turned to face them, her sunglasses slipping down her nose, her purse abandoned in the grass. "Ma'am, we've received multiple complaints of a public disturbance," Officer Smith announced, his voice steady but firm. "We need to review what happened here." Bill, ever the documentarian, stepped forward and offered his phone, already cued to the video he recorded. "You want to see this," he said, a hint of satisfaction in his tone. Officer Lee nodded, then motioned to the Johnson's house across the street. "That security camera caught everything too," Tom added, pointing to the blinking red light. Karen's voice, now shrill with indignation, cut through the murmurs. "This is persecution. I was protecting the children. She jabbed the megaphone toward Jack, is attracting strangers and endangering our neighborhood." Officer Smith held up a hand. "Ma'am, please lower your voice. We have video evidence of you using a megaphone to create a public disturbance, refusing to leave, and frightening children. That violates Ohio Revised Code Section 2917.11 disorderly conduct." He read from his notepad. "No person shall recklessly cause inconvenience, annoyance, or alarm to another by making unreasonable noise or hindering the movement of persons on a public street." 3. Karen's face flushed. "You can't arrest me for caring about safety." Officer Lee moved in, gently but firmly taking the megaphone from her grip. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for disorderly conduct. Please place your hands behind your back." The handcuffs clicked shut, the sound echoing over the stunned crowd. Karen's sunglasses tumbled to the pavement as she twisted in protest, her purse and phone quickly secured by the officers. The neighborhood erupted in applause. Bill, grinning ear to ear, streamed the scene live on X, hashtags #IceCreamKaren and #NeighborhoodHero already trending. Lisa handed Emily a fresh cone, whispering, "See, honey? Sometimes the good guys win." Tom organized a quick cleanup, gathering Karen's scattered pamphlets and returning the megaphone to Jack, who placed it back on the truck's counter. As the officers led Karen to the cruiser, she shouted, "You can't silence me! I'm protecting our kids!" But her words were drowned out by cheers and laughter, the community's relief palpable. Jack turned to the crowd, voice warm and steady. Thank you, everyone, for standing up for what's right. Ice cream's on the house today. The jingle restarted, louder than ever, as kids and parents lined up, spirits high. Karen's arrest became the talk of Oakwood. Her reputation as the self-appointed neighborhood watchdog crumbled, the police noting her long history of complaints about strangers and outsiders, which only weakened her credibility. 5. The incident, captured from every angle, was quickly shared across social media, with Bill's video racking up thousands of views in hours. As cones were scooped and laughter returned to Maple Street, Jack felt the weight of the day lift. Justice and community had prevailed. The cuffs had come on, but the joy was just beginning. Part 6. Resolution and Moral. Karen's meltdown didn't scare off strangers. It froze her out of our community. In the days that followed, Oakwood buzzed with the aftermath. Karen, facing video evidence and the testimony of half the block, pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct. The judge handed down a $500 fine and 50 hours of community service at the city's food bank, a poetic twist, considering her crusade against outsiders. 25. Her purse, phone, and sunglasses were returned by the police with a polite warning to avoid further disruptions. The neighborhood association, citing its code of conduct, banned her from all future events for the year, a decision met with widespread approval. But the real story was what happened online. Bill's video of the incident hit 80,000 views within a week. The hashtags #IceCreamKaren and #NeighborhoodHero trending across local feeds. 3. Comments poured in, praising my calm and poking fun at Karen's obsession with strangers. A local teen even made a parody video, syncing Karen's audio to his dog begging for snacks, and a bakery released broomstick-shaped cookies in her dubious honor. 3. The laughter was cathartic, but it also sent a message. Oakwood stood together. Sweet Treats on Wheels saw record sales. Families from nearby neighborhoods made the trip, eager to show support. Kids handed me thank you notes. Someone slipped a gift card into my tip jar with a note that read, "For keeping summer sweet." I donated $1,000 to a children's charity, and the association presented me with a Community Spirit Award at our next block party. Lisa organized a Scoops for Solidarity event, drawing hundreds under the old oaks, the air thick with the scent of vanilla and chocolate, applause echoing as the ribbon on my award fluttered in the breeze. I took the stage, navy polo crisp, the truck gleaming behind me. "This truck's about bringing us together, not tearing us apart," I said, voice steady. When I started Sweet Treats on Wheels, it was to see kids smile and neighbors connect. That's what matters. Not fear, not suspicion, just community. Looking back, Karen's outburst didn't fracture Oakwood. It strengthened us. Her accusations, meant to divide, only made us appreciate our traditions and each other more. The memory of that perfect summer day, the laughter, the cones, the unity outshone the spectacle she tried to create. The lesson was clear: respect your neighbors, cherish community, and don't let baseless fears drive you apart. Entitlement and outrage may go viral, but kindness and solidarity last far longer. Love this story of community and sweet justice? Hit that like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to ring the bell for more inspiring tales. In a neighborhood where ice cream sparks joy, one Karen's tantrum only made our scoop sweeter.